Welcome back to a new season of My Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Hey, Meredith, thanks for bringing me back this season.
Anytime. I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else.
Okay, I'm glad to be here.
So I think we're ready to move on from Tayshia and focus on our new season of The Bachelor with the one and only Matt James. How are you feeling?
I'm wishing that we had a little bit more time between seasons. I could use a little bit of downtime. We're getting toward the NFL playoffs, college basketball season's going on, but I'm there with you. Well,
some comments on that. None of your teams are looking well in any of that, so you really don't need to spend much time focusing there. Tar Heels lost to NC State recently. The Panthers, very bad. Secondly, you had a very long break during the whole middle of quarantine since there was no Bachelor programming.
This is true, but I can only take so much Bachelor, but I'm here, I'm ready to go, and I know a little bit about Matt James, but I think you're going to tell me more and tell our listeners more about Matt James.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Matt James is a different kind of lead than we're used to because he has not been on a Bachelor franchise show before. Typically, we're getting our leads from the previous season or like a few seasons ago with Claire. Like Tayshia was on Colton's season. Pilot Pete was on Hannah Brown's season. That's how we're getting a majority of our leads. That's not how Matt James is coming to us. We as a collective, not me personally, I know a lot about Matt James, but we as a collective are not familiar with Matt James and his story.
So were you familiar? Did you know that Matt James existed before they introduced him as The Bachelor?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I did not, but go ahead.
Diehard Bachelor fans such as myself do know Matt James as Matt James 919, which is his Instagram handle, because he's best friends with Tyler Cameron, who was the runner-up on Hannah Brown's season. I love Hannah Brown, one of my favorite bachelorettes.
Okay.
Tyler Cameron, total hunk. Great guy. Dated Gigi Hadid post-Bachelor season. Supermodel. She's a supermodel, Dad. So this is a big deal because Bachelor Nation started dating supermodels. Like, that's unheard of. But Tyler and Matt are best friends. So that's how we knew Matt. Okay.
Well, I don't really know any of these people you speak of, including the supermodel, but please continue.
Okay. Well, we're going to start from the beginning. Matt was born in 1992, which means he's 28 years old, which isn't within my acceptable age range, just an FYI, in case it doesn't work out with whoever wins the show. He was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, and raised by his single mother.
Okay.
He went to Wake Forest University, which was my second choice school. We could have had a year overlapping, so I really dropped the ball there.
Saved me a lot of money, though, so that's okay.
And he majored in economics, which is quite impressive. I took a few econ classes and really hated it, so it takes a special type of person there. And he played on the football team as a wide receiver. Per ESPN, his college stats are 48 receptions for 458 yards and no touchdowns.
But he got in some games, and with that said, Wake Forest is not known as a football power, although they've had a few good teams recently. And my alma mater, University of North Carolina, I'm pretty sure we beat them this year, but Matt James wasn't playing, so who knows?
Yeah, and after graduating, he attempted to make it in the NFL, where he had tryouts with the Panthers and the Saints, but didn't make either team.
That's tough to make the NFL. So.
Which, that seems to be a pretty consistent throughout most of our Bachelor contestants. Practice squads, tryouts, never actually see a game.
I guess if you actually make it in the NFL, you don't have to come on these shows, but go ahead.
So once football didn't pan out, he worked as a broker's assistant, junior analyst, and corporate and institutional banking analyst, and he now lives in New York City. So in 2018, Matt and Tyler, as we've spoken about earlier, his best friend Tyler Cameron, launched ABC Food Tours.
Is it Tyler Cameron or Cameron Tyler?
Tyler Cameron.
Okay.
They launched ABC Food Tours in New York, and according to Matt's LinkedIn, which I was stalking last night, The charity's mission is, quote, ABC Food Tours is a food touring company that leads students on both food and fitness tours through New York City, stopping at restaurants native to the area to taste their signature dishes and learn about their history. We partner with schools to provide tours for students that are directly affected by homelessness at no cost to them. So he launched a charity to help children in New York City, which is pretty cool.
Okay. So this guy is an athlete. I'm assuming that he's a handsome fellow, and that it's not like these shows are going to bring on ugly guys. So I'm assuming he's an athletic, handsome fellow. He's in New York City. He started a nonprofit. Why the heck does he have to come on this show to find a date?
That's a great question. I couldn't answer that. I do have friends in New York City, and based off of their stories, to me, it does seem like the dating scene is a shark eat shark world out there in New York. I think it's a bit more intense than the dating scenes that I'm used to. There's a lot going on up there, but I do feel like Matt would be one of the more eligible bachelors in New York. But I guess, he just really feels like he can find love on reality television.
Ugh. Okay, go ahead.
So we know a little bit of background about Matt now. How did he become our bachelor if he's never been on the franchise?
I don't know. Do you have some idea?
I do have some ideas. So we know that he's well known with Bachelor Nation superfans because of his connection to Tyler and Hannah Brown. So Tyler was on Hannah's season, and he and Matt are best friends. And Matt ended up as an original cast member for Claire/Tayshia's season pre-quarantine.
Okay, so he was supposed to be on the Claire Crawley season.
Yes, pre-COVID shutdown, ABC released all the men, their bios and everything, and Matt James was included on this.
Okay.
So, obviously that didn't happen as planned. Production got shut down. Everyone started quarantining because of COVID, and during the shutdown, Matt became pretty famous on TikTok along with Tyler and Hannah Brown because they were all quarantining together in Tyler's house in Florida, and they made their own TikTok account called The Quarantine Crew. And everyone in Bachelor Nation blew it up, became obsessed with it because everyone wants Tyler and Hannah to be together.
The Chinese are getting all your data on this TikTok thing.
It's worth it. I don't really care.
Okay, well, you're asking for trouble, but go ahead.
So Matt becomes pretty famous off of TikTok because he's hanging out with Tyler and Hannah all the time. And so Matt used this newfound fame and created a Cameo account. Do you know what a Cameo is?
I don't know what a Cameo is.
Okay. Well, it's essentially an app where celebrities can sell personalized videos to normal people like you and I. So my brother really likes Chance the Rapper. So if Chance the Rapper had a cameo, you could pay $50 or $100 and be like, yo, Chance, can you send a happy birthday message to my son? And then he'll make a video being like, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. Your dad wanted me to send this to you.
So Matt is famous enough that he can do this for people?
For sure, yes.
Okay. I mean, does he charge $1.25 if Chance the Rapper is charging $50? Or
I feel like it's probably more than that. I've never purchased a Cameo, but I think that they could get pretty expensive.
Okay.
So Matt makes a Cameo account, and Claire Crawley, who is going to be his lead since he is cast on her show, does not like this. She starts subtweeting about Matt, tweeting about how the guys need to respect the process and they shouldn't be looking for fame when they haven't even been on her show, and just kind of going in. She wasn't naming anyone in particular, but obviously the only person that anyone cared about on her season, since we didn't know any of these guys other than Matt, was Matt. So everyone's like, okay, obviously Claire is talking about Matt. So there's already some bad blood going on between Claire and Matt there. But we would like to note that it's been said now that Matt was donating all the proceeds from his Cameo to charity.
Okay.
So shortly after this exchange, they pulled Matt from Claire's season because obviously that wasn't going to work. and they named him as the new Bachelor.
Lucky break for Matt there, because Claire Crawley's pretty crazy. So I think this is probably working out well for him.
Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds there. But this announcement did come at the same time as the protests against racism and police brutality after George Floyd's death. And a lot of Bachelor fans were asking for more diversity among the show. And that was kind of headed by Rachel Lindsay, who was our first Black Bachelorette. You know, a lot of racial tension was occurring in the country, and people were calling out the show saying this is a very whitewashed show, which I agree with. We've never had a person of color be the lead on The Bachelor. So with that being said, Matt James becomes our first Black Bachelor and only our third Black lead behind Rachel Lindsay and now Tayshia Adams. So I think it's very exciting that we get to have our first Black Bachelor, especially one who's spoken out against racial inequality, and he's used his platform this summer, including his TikTok platform, to speak out amidst a lot of racial tension in our country.
All right. Well, he, as he says, sounds like a good guy. He's running a nonprofit organization, or involved in a nonprofit organization in New York. Seems politically conscious. So, you know, and sort of, again, begs the question, why do you have to come on this show to get a date? But I guess we'll be finding that out as we start up the season.
Yeah.
Now we finished Tayshia's season on a resort in California, and everyone was sweating their ass off there. Now, I'm assuming that this is being filmed or was filmed recently while we're still dealing with quarantine issues. What do we know about the timing and location?
Yes, so the season was filmed at the same time normal Bachelor seasons are filmed, which is early September through like end of November, Thanksgiving time. And they are doing another resort quarantine, but this resort is Nemacolin, which is in Pennsylvania during the middle of fall. And based off of the previews we've seen of Matt James' season, it looks way nicer than the La Quinta. A lot more going on. It looks like we have a lot of outdoor activities. You know, I saw some skydiving and things that are a lot more than just like, let's ride horses around this resort while Chris Harrison feeds us various foods.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting. I mean, Pennsylvania in the fall can be pretty. They could also have some cold weather there, although I think in some of the previews we got to see Matt James chopping wood without his shirt on. And
The Bachelor does love a good hot tub moment. So I think that we will get some nice hot tub time up in Pennsylvania.
Can't knock the hot tub.
Yeah. So I, for one, am excited that we're having Matt James as a Bachelor because I've known him for a while through Tyler. But I'm also excited that ABC is using their platform to promote diversity, and I'm excited to continue to see how they continue to promote diversity and inclusion throughout the franchise in the future. You know, who we're going to have as leads coming up. But I think we're going to be in for a treat this season with Matt. It'll be fun having a lead that we don't know too much about, as well as like 30 crazy girls that we also know nothing about.
And I guess we'll come back on our next episode after you and I have had a chance to read the small bios for each of these girls, and we can pick some of the ladies that we think will get to the finals and so on and so forth.
Yes, we will be taking an in-depth look at all the women competing for Matt's heart. We're going to do our final four picks, see if we have any hot takes, who we think is going to be our villain of the season. First impression, Rose. Like we've got a lot to dig through with these bios.
All right. Well, I know what we're doing over the Christmas holiday. Then. That's great, and it makes me feel a little bit tired in that, you know, in my limited experience of watching the show, unlike you, it just feels like when there's a Bachelor with 25, 30 ladies flitting around as opposed to a Bachelorette with a bunch of guys flitting around, it just feels like the drama quotient tends to get ramped up. I mean, there's some drama with the guys. We had some on Tayshia's season, but it was relatively limited, and I fear that there's just a lot of crying and mean girl stuff in our future.
Oh yes, the Bachelor seasons are way more entertaining.
It gives me, I don't know. We'll see.
I quite enjoyed the promo that we were getting after Tayshia's finale. I think we have a lot that we can work with there.
Wonderful.
All right. Do you have any other things you want to say about Matt?
Well, I look forward to meeting Matt. I don't know Matt, but as nearly as well as you. But I fear that in the next few months, I'll get to know Matt very well. I wish him luck. I've gone on record as saying this is not the best way to find your future husband or wife. I wish him luck. I hope he finds someone special. I hope he has an interesting adventure. And I look forward to discussing it with you.
Yeah, so we are super excited to dive into this season of The Bachelor, and we'll be giving you all of our thoughts from the right perspective and my dad's.